Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Victoria Steele. I've got a question for you. I've got a question for you. It has been nearly 10 decades since Alice Paul introduced the ERA in Congress. So why are we still fighting for this? Do we still need it?
Yes.
All right. Well, as I said, my name is Victoria Steele, and this week I took the oath of office to become an Arizona state senator. Thank you. And just like my noted predecessor, Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, I too will be introducing a bill to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, and I just signed it this morning. Here it is. This is it. Okay, sisters, brothers, I want you to know we are on the verge of making history. A lot of people don't seem to know that retired Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor was the first woman in the entire nation to become the female president of a state senate. And she did it right here in the early 70s. You see, after Sandra Day O'Connor graduated from law school, she couldn't get hired as an attorney.
Gee, imagine that.
Imagine that. She had to become a secretary, which is not a bad profession, but that's not what she went to college for. Maybe that's why she fought so hard for women's equality. As a Republican member, yes, she's Republican. As a Republican member of the Arizona State Senate, she introduced a bill to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. But it did not pass. She was the first to do that. She may have been the first in the nation to do that, but it did not pass. And every year since then, someone has introduced that same bill, this bill, same language, in the legislature, to the same result: rejection. Time and time again. The majority of people polled believe that the equal rights passed a long time ago, that we got that amendment way back in the 60s or 70s or something, didn't we? Literally 80% of the people polled think that we already passed it, that we've already got equality, and so they're not paying attention. They're starting to pay attention now. It did not happen. Here's a brief history of the ERA. In 1923, suffragist Alice Paul introduced the ERA to Congress. That's right, nearly 100 years ago, almost 10 decades. The language of the ERA is very simple, quite direct. Here it is, one sentence. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex. Now I ask you, how can anyone, Republican or Democrat, disagree with that? How can that happen? In 1972, Congress finally, remember, it was introduced by Alice Paul in 1923, but in 1972, it finally got approved by Congress. But in order to become law, 3/4 of the 50 states must ratify constitutional amendments by their state legislatures. Well, at first, it was going really smoothly. It was just clicking along. It was ratified one state, then another, and another. We got up to 35, and in the 1980s, it just kind of stalled out because of a very vocal group that maintained that equal rights, if women had them, it would destroy the family. Yeah, it would. That men and women would be forced to use the same bathrooms. That women would be forced to serve in the military. Oh my gosh. And that women would get abortions and gays would get married. Yeah, folks, that ship has sailed. Sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. Women are already willingly signing up even to be in combat in our military. Lots of places have 3 bathrooms, like the Tucson Mall, right down the street from where I live, has 3 bathrooms for all sorts of people. and all stripes of people. And you know, abortions are already legal. That's already happened. And that fight will go on for decades probably. And that has nothing to do with the Equal Rights Amendment. And do we already know that gay marriage is a thing? We can do that, okay? All right. Besides, that's not what the ERA is about. It's about equality, period. Equality, that's it. So as I said, the ERA stalled out in the 1980s, just 3 states short of the 38 states needed to get this into our U.S. Constitution. But now, nearly 4 decades later, it is making a comeback. Nevada ratified the ERA in 2017. Where is Jerry Burton? Where is Jerry Burton? Jerry, raise your hand. She's here. I know she is. She is with the Nevada State Legislature. She's here today, and they passed it. They ratified it in 2017. Illinois? Yes. The state of Illinois ratified it in 2018, making the ERA, yes, that's right, give them a hand, they deserve it. This is not easy. This is tough stuff. Making the ERA just one state away from needed ratification. 1 state away from passage. Any thoughts on what that state might be? Let's do this. We can do this. Let's pass the ERA. I think Arizona should be that 38th state. If we're not, we'll keep going. We'll be 39th. I'm okay with that as long as this thing finally passes.
I think Virginia's a little ahead of us.
Virginia State Senate has just ratified it, but not the House. So that process, as you will see, that process is long and tortured. It is difficult. All right. So, make no mistake. This is legacy legislation. This will make history. This goes in the history books. So, when I would hate to be one of those people that voted against the Equal Rights Amendment. So when their grandchildren, their granddaughters, their grandsons look at the history books and they come back to grandma and grandpa and say, how, why did you vote against equality for women? I would not want to be in their shoes. I wouldn't want to be them. So now, a lot of people think that the ERA has already passed. It didn't. Or that the 14th Amendment already protects women. It doesn't. These days, the arguments against the ERA come from those who say it's not necessary. We don't need it. Well, that's only partly true. It is true that women's rights now are better protected than ever before. But women are still not equal. And those protections that we have are in the form of laws. And those laws can and are being overturned constantly. Just look at the #MeToo movement. The effort to remove the Title IX laws. And the fact that VAWA, the Violence Against Women Act, was not funded last month. Not funded. Violence Against Women Act, not funded. Okay, we need the stricter compliance, the stricter scrutiny of the constitutional amendment. So back to my initial question. It's been nearly 10 decades since Alice Paul introduced the ERA in Congress. Why are we still fighting for this? Why do we need it? All right, here are 5 good reasons. Reason 1, the burden of proof for sex discrimination, sexual harassment, and rape, the burden of proof still rests with the victim instead of the offender. If the ERA, here, just think Anita Hill, Christine Blasey Ford. All right, you see where I'm going? If the ERA were ratified, the burden of proof would shift to offenders, requiring them to prove that they did not violate the Constitution. That's why we need this. Reason number 2, the Constitution does not protect women survivors of violence who take legal action. Reason number 3, female earning power. It is still stuck at about 80 cents to a man's dollar. But if you are a woman of color, it is much, much worse. That disparity is far worse. 4, having a child means wage bonuses for men, still, but penalties for women. Reason 5, pregnancy discrimination puts women who decide to have children at risk of losing their job or not getting hired in the first place because they might get pregnant or they might have to take time off for a sick child. They might need maternity leave. Horrors. Horrors. Enough already. It has been 96 years. Enough. Ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. Let's honor the work of Sandra Day O'Connor. And let's give Alice Paul's ghost a rest. Please. All right. Again, I want to thank you all for being here. We've got a panel of amazing speakers on tap today, and I can't wait to get to them. So I am going to move to my Democratic seatmate, State Representative Pamela Powers-Hanlon. Pamela.